Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Cooking with Bob. Hello, everyone. I'm semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today's another quick episode of Cooking with Bob. First, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You might be wondering what in the heck you're watching here. Well, basically, you're watching me walk. Just a little under 18 months ago, I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes without severe pain. Now I'm out here walking every day. So why don't you help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life? Go ahead and hit the like button. Drop down in the comments and say, "Hi, Bob." Maybe even consider subscribing if you haven't already. It's absolutely free, and it really does help get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. I'm 60 years old, and I'm out here doing stuff that I couldn't do when I was 40. I thought I'd never be able to do again. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. It means an awful lot to me that you choose to spend just a few moments of your day with me. I just wanted to get out here and get a little extra walk in this evening and record the opening for the Cooking with Bob episode. And that's probably about as far as we need to go since there's work being done down there. Let's turn around and go back the other way. But yeah, today's episode of Cooking with Bob, since most of us are buying bigger pieces of meat, you know, when meat was cheap, we could buy a single steak that we wanted or a roast that's just big enough for a meal, and we didn't have to deal with leftovers. But as we have noticed, it is cheaper to buy the bigger hunks of meat and cut them down. I tend to buy bigger roasts, and instead of cutting them before I cook them, because they usually come out of the freezer and into the oven or the slow cooker or whatever I'm doing, so I cook it all at once because I can't cut a frozen chunk of meat. Then I have the leftover part of the roast that just doesn't, you know, it's still good, but it just doesn't stay, you know, it's not as nice and tender as when it first came out of the slow cooker. So what I'm going to do today, this is just a little piece of a pork roast that I had left over that I'm going to try and experiment with, and hopefully it comes out nice and tender. And I'll show you all of how I did that here in the upcoming little section of cooking video. I am going to tell you that it's extremely cold out here right now. I did not put my long sleeve shirt back on underneath this sweatshirt that I bought because I didn't think I was going to be out here very long, and I haven't been out here very long. But boy, when that wind kicks up, you can sure feel it. But yeah, that's what I've got going on today, is just a little cooking video. I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, this is what I'm going to do with leftover pork roast in an attempt to keep it nice and juicy and tasty. Let's jump right on into the kitchen. Yeah, this is actually a piece of leftover pork roast, but I suspect that what I'm going to try here today will work for almost any kind of roast. So what I'm going to do is cut it into chunks about that thick. You can see this was a fairly good pork roast. Got a big chunk of fat on the end and underneath, so it's got a good fat cap all the way around it. See if I can't get this. That's a little bit thin, but now I get one more here. Okay, now we're going to get the skillet heated up. And this is an entire stick of butter. And depending on how much roast you have to do and how big your skillet is, you might even need to use more. And I'm sure lard or ghee or tallow, any of those things would work just as well. Butter is what I happen to have, so that's what we're going to use. I'll be back with you when this is done melting. Okay, as you can see, the butter is melted and hot. And now we're just going to take our chunks of roast. And, ow, oops, I splashed myself. Don't do that, you'll burn. And put, ow! Yeah. And see, that's what cooking with Bob is all about. Watching him make mistakes and splash butter everywhere and burning himself. Because what could be more exciting YouTube content than seeing a guy burn his hand off? But we go ahead and put the chunks in there. And then to help keep the moisture in, we're going to go ahead and put a lid on it. I'll be back with you in a little bit. Now this has been frying for a while. You can see the fat around the edge. The fat cap is starting to look like it's cooked. So we know we're getting there a little bit. So let's go ahead and try and get all these pieces flipped over. And then what I do is I kind of rearrange things so that there seems to be hot spots in the pan. So I kind of rearrange them so that the less done ones get to the middle, back on over the hotter spots. I'm not sure why there's hotter spots in this skillet. It's supposed to have one of those things that the bottom is supposed to distribute the heat, but that doesn't appear to be working properly. But then we're going to go ahead and cover this up. That was about 5 minutes on that side, so now we're going to let it go for about another 5 minutes on this side. And there it is. Now remember, the whole point of this exercise was to try and reheat roast without it getting all dry and yucky. Let's see how we did. Yes. It's hot all the way through, but as you can see, it's still tender enough to cut with a fork. Fantastic. So I hope this little cooking with Bob helps you out, because in this day and age of everybody trying to save money, we're buying bigger chunks of meat because it's cheaper to buy the bigger chunks of meat, cooking them up, and then saving some of it for later. So this is one of the ways I have found to heat up previously cooked meat without it getting all dry and yucky. That's what I've got for you today, folks. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.